Well, good afternoon. It's just me today. We've got Mason out of town, and Shane is traveling, the jet setter he is. Coming live, this will be my first solo one, so this is kind of a fun experience for me. Big important thing I wanted to talk about today, enhancing your float experience. This is something for me that's very passionate, where I have a passion for. I always go into a tent or go into my float with intentions. Either it's something I want to work on at work that I allow myself to think about and focus on, or I allow myself to focus on something that's happening in my personal life. This is why I believe it's such a great place to be as far as finding your center and as far as working out your daily issues, if you will, minus the stigma on the word issues. So what I'd like to hear, first and foremost, I'd love to hear where you're watching from. Do you float? Do you not float? Is there something you're interested in? Are there questions that we can answer down here for you at Zen Float Co? Normally we have Mason here. He's kind of our guru. He's the one that you'll be talking to 9/10 of the time on the phone. He's absolutely knowledgeable and loves to help through any kind of situations and any questions you have. You'll see Adam every once in a while. He's our main salesperson. He's the guy that gets you up and gets you going. Hopefully, next couple of weeks they'll be back and we can have them on live. So like I said, I'd love to hear some shout-outs. I want to hear where you're watching from. And hopefully Ellen's tuning in, and hopefully you're having a good day. So if you floated many times in a row, there's ways to mix up your float routine. Like anything in life, like a gym habit, like a meditation habit, there are times when things can get very stagnant. Because of this, you end up feeling like you're just going through the motions, and you're probably not reaping the benefits out of any given situation that you should. When it comes to floating, we always recommend doing something a little bit different. Of course, if you've got a habit that works for you, maintain it, please. We do things down here like intentional floats, like I had mentioned earlier. So I'll do a little bit of dreamscaping. I'll even pull out a whiteboard sometimes, and I'll go old-fashioned and spider graph. I'll find things that I want to work on, and that's what I take in the tent with me. Inside of the tent, we've got things like guided meditation. We've got our underwater headphones. These are what I love for that. It's a 9-foot cord, so I can set my phone outside the tank, and I can kind of have it take me into that bliss and into that Zen point. So always something I highly recommend. Karen Leonard does our guided meditation. She's absolutely phenomenal. Her voice is just something that I get so comfortable with, and I really allow her to take me through a journey, which obviously that's the most important. Music. So we have some people that float with classical music. We have some people that they've got the singing bowls. I always find those quite fascinating because when I'm in and I'm floating and I have that tone that hits my ear, it certainly takes me just to a different level. It feels almost as if I'm riding on a frequency, and I find myself, here I am in complete blackness, and I start visualizing and almost feeling color. So there's many things as far as music. As we all know, we heard growing up and going to school that classical music to study by helps you retain information. So just imagine what that can do for you inside of a tent. It's pretty powerful. So music is definitely something that we recommend. And of course, the waterproof headphones. We'll throw a link in the comments, make it easy for you to click and find where those are at. Another thing I wanted to show, there's a company out there called Floaties. This is something that I absolutely love, and we're a big fan of these. It's their halo. And what it is, when you're in the water and you're floating, this will sit just behind your head. And for those of you that have floated before, your first experience, the moment you lay down, it's such a surreal experience because nowhere else in life can you get weightless and free. And suddenly all that weight's off of your bones, and you feel as if your head is falling backwards. At least I know I did on my first. We found this product, and this is something I absolutely love. It just kind of takes away, I wouldn't say that edge, but that thought of my head falling back. Now there are people, Shane doesn't like to use one of these, not that he doesn't prefer it, but he goes and completely submerges up to here, which is, I find it fascinating. So this is definitely something that we recommend. We'll post a link on this too, something I think you should check out. So as far as the Floaties product, like I said, that's something that it's just kind of an added step, an added perk that you can take in the tank with you. I like the feeling of my head floating. Stretching. This is really big, and Monique talked a lot about it. If you remember, she did her 30-day float challenge, which I still am blown away the fact that she was able to do it. She set her mind and she set her intentions, and she hit 30 days. It was so fun to work with her on the daily, to see her not only her progress, but the way her emotions felt, the way that she carried herself on a daily basis. It was mind-blowing to watch, the impact and everything else. And I mean, as you know, we do this on a daily, so we know a lot about floating. And then to have one of our own have even deeper these experiences. But she talked a lot about stretching inside the water, and I do the same thing. Of course, as you know, ours is 8 foot long, so there's going to be plenty of room for you to wiggle your toes and put your hands out. And it's very liberating. You know, like we talked about, there's just no other real place or environment where you're going to be completely weightless, and you can really feel the effects of just loosening up those joints and just reaching and reaching, getting that good stretch. It's something that blows me away. So twisting, stretching your spine, I find myself moving in so many ways. I mean, there are some floats where I end up sitting stationary and I'm just lost in the moment. But I find it fascinating to wiggle my toes and just kind of move my body. It's very liberating. A big thing, and this is fun for us. We started selling these wonderful float journals. Journaling is one of the biggest things that I recommend. I don't know about you, but I'm generally finding I'm so busy I can't trust my brain so much. I have to log everything, and I usually write it down 3 or 4 different places, and then I have a memo on my computer, fun iWatch that reminds me of things that I need to work on. When I get out of the tent, I love to write things down. I love to write where my mind goes, and I end up tracking my progress, especially if there's something that I have an intention to work on. We'll post a link on these. It's a wonderful company. The actual journals are made out of wood themselves, the covers. And then we went ahead and inscribed Float Journal on the front of them. The fun part about these, with every book that's purchased, they plant a tree for you. So it's kind of a way for us and the company that designs these and does these to pay it forward a little bit. Regardless, you don't need a fancy float journal. It's just something that we offer. But we really want you to write it down. Think about where your head went, and maybe next time what you want to experience in your float. Love them. So those are just kind of some of the ways. I know this is pretty quick, but those are some of the ways that you can change up your float. So like I said, I recommend music, you know, classical, trying something a little bit different. I have a good friend of mine that listens to West African drumming when he's floating, and he finds his mind going through the rhythms of the beats. And so it's really your own taste and what you prefer, but I highly recommend just giving it the experience or giving it a try. Journaling, of course, is so high on the list. It helps you remember kind of where you were and where your head went, and then even log how your body feels. It's not a fix-all. Obviously, we know that, floating. But we use this as a tool. It helps us deal with daily anxieties, deal with daily stress. So look at it like a tool, something you can use to kind of help you through your life. Last not least, again, I'd like to hear comments. I'd love to hear where you're watching from. Thanks for tuning in and supporting Zen. We certainly appreciate it. It's such a passion of ours, and it's so fun to do these weekly and just to reach out and kind of hear your experiences. If there's any testimonials or any fun things that you've experienced recently in the tent, we'd love to hear those too. If there are any topics that you'd like us to cover, please let us know. We can try to go into detail, or if you'd like to see something or know something about the tent that we have to offer, we'll make sure to put our direct website link in the notes, and you can click on and see a little bit more of what we're all about. So just recap: guided meditation, music, stretching. Big thing, and I hate to forget it, center yourself. I talked a moment ago about having an intention. I wouldn't recommend, and you know, there are some people that can't wait till they get home, they hop out of the car, they hop in the shower, they wash down, they head straight into the tent. There are times I find down here and at home that I do that too. I get very excited when I'm driving home knowing what I'm about to go do. If I have the opportunity and I have some alone time, I really like to just sit and calm for just a second. You're really setting the stage. Think of it like your own personal performance, and you are making a commitment to yourself. You're allowing yourself time to slow down. You're allowing yourself time to center and to get to know more of you, more of what your body's asking for. And what we've experienced, especially with floating, if you allow your body to communicate to you, you're going to understand where your ailments are. So we use it as a tool to help and just to kind of, I know for me, it gets me over that hump of the day. I mean, you know, we're so inundated by technology and we're so inundated by sensory overload, be the best way to put it. It's very nice to be able to unplug. So these are just a few ways for you to mix up your routine. I know it's a little boring without Shane and Mason and Adam. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope the travels are fun. Can't wait till you're back. Bring me some Jameson. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Make sure you post, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much.